When Android companies found out about Apple ditching the headphone jack, they did their best to mock Apple as best they could. Samsung produced many advertisements that mentioned the missing headphone jack and explained that Samsung would never do what Apple did to their customers.
Oh, that is so terrible.
Oh gosh. A $500,000 car getting NACS before Lucid.
Oh man, BMW is going to be. Oh man, Lucid's getting so shamed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so fun. You can change the horn to actually fart at people. And then another cool thing too, you can the sound that the blinkers make whenever you turn on the turn signals.
You can make those fart too.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fanboy Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Maggart from the iTunes Fanboy.
I'm Tabby Cat.
My name is Alpha DeWolf.
And we are back once again, full house finally, for the first time since June as we recorded it, but July when the episode released. We did record a full house episode 2 weeks ago, and we also recorded another episode just me and Alpha a week ago, but the first time my clip went wrong, failed, and I had no audio.
Yeah, no audio in his clip at all. I started editing, and then I realized, wait a sec, where's the waveforms? Start listening. Okay, there's no audio. Maybe something didn't import properly, so I go to the file I downloaded. Huh. No sound. I go to, where was it, Google Drive or something like that?
Yeah.
I go to the email where you have it uploaded to the cloud, so I check it out there. No sound. And sure enough, you checked it, and no sound.
Yeah, and the second time I accidentally mixed it up with my other recordings from last week's YouTube video, and that's how that one got deleted. So that's how come that episode failed, but as a result, I'm back on TIFP, and this time I will put them in separate folders to avoid confusion, and I have checked in the mic and aux. There are waveforms coming through, so...
Alright, good.
There's no need to worry.
Yeah, I was so mad because last week we went on for over 3 hours, only to having to scrap the episode because you deleted it.
To be honest, 3 hours is a little bit too long for a podcast.
Sure, but I mean the content was so good.
Yeah, it was.
I went on a whole idea that you claim should be patented, and oh goodness, that episode was so good. Why did why did it have to get deleted?
I don't. It's because I got mixed up with all my other recordings from my video the next day.
Alright, hopefully no more shenanigans happen this week. I mean, I'm appreciating the break from editing, but I mean, come on.
It's a break due to shenanigans, to be fair. Well, I guess we should get started with our first topic, which is obviously the new Apple Pencil with the USB-C.
Everybody hates it. I think it's nice.
So do I.
I like it because...
Yeah, actually, I have to agree.
It's cheaper. It works flawlessly with, the iPad 10. And if you upgrade from your iPad 10 to an iPad Pro, which a lot of people probably will do, you can take your Apple Pencil. You couldn't do that with the Apple Pencil 1. I don't know why people are hating.
I like the Apple Pencil with USB-C a lot as well, because it's not only the cheapest Apple Pencil out there, which is great because a lot of students with note-taking, mind you, that are college students especially, and high school students that are on really tight budgets, don't have a lot of money to spend on Apple Pencils, as Apple Pencils, especially with the pressure sensitivity, they're great for artists, but what if you're just an average consumer who just wants it to use to take notes in class? For example, my school is actually doing a test trial right now with Logitech crayons.
I remember
And it's
those.
probably
Perhaps they might want to switch to the Apple Pencil with USB-C.
I have iPad. We have iPad 9th generation, so we can't.
I thought it was compatible with that.
Nope, it's only with iPads with USB-C ports that support them.
Ew. That's a bit
But as
disappointing.
a
Well, to be
result
fair
of future ones.
To be fair here, there probably will never be another Apple product with Lightning ever come out. So
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
every iPad that has
Thank goodness.
Yeah, every iPad that has Lightning is kind of getting outdated now. The A13, I'm not saying it's obsolete. I'm just saying it's definitely not new anymore. It's definitely not the newest processor anymore.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah, I'd
surprised
have
that a
to-
lot of people hate the pencil, though.
Yeah, because sure, there's pressure sensitivity, but the way I use it most, especially the way I use it, but the primary way that I use whenever I'm drawing or else doing artwork, is that I actually use an Apple Pen. Is that I actually no, I don't use an Apple Pencil. I don't even have one, but I use tilt sensitivity a lot more than I do pressure sensitivity, and even then, most college students are not artists. And for example, if my school were to upgrade to iPad 10s or 11s, which are supposedly going to be coming out sometime this week, though I'm sure they'll probably, if they're going to come out, they'll probably already be out by the time this episode's released. Alongside an iPad Air 7, an iPad Mini 6, and a new iMac with an M3 or M2 chip. The Apple Pencil would be very practical for schools to buy because in most cases you don't have to take many art classes where you would need something like pressure sensitivity, like for example.
Hey, editor Alpha DeWolf here. Yeah, we said some stuff, and you guys are not allowed to hear this stuff, and this right here is where the stuff used to be. Alright, now that stuff has been said, back to the show.
So now let's go. So I overall like the new Apple Pencil with USB-C, and I think it'll be available in early November, and I wouldn't be too surprised if this is probably going to be a hot seller this holiday season.
I think
Yeah, I
it
think
depends
it's
on
gonna
which
do really
iPad
well.
comes out next. If there's an iPad
Yeah,
11,
the iPad.
then probably. If not, then people are just going to keep going with the Air. Or even the 9, which is... It shouldn't be sold anymore, in my opinion. The iPad 9 is just...
Oh yeah.
I don't think it should be sold anymore.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
I
it's
wish.
time to get rid of that.
I wish.
Bring the
I
iPad
wish,
10 down to that price.
I
don't
wish
think there
Apple
should be
didn't
any
sell the
devices
iPad.
with home buttons at all being sold.
Yeah, like I hate how my school has iPad 9s because Apple's bought them new, because I shouldn't be complaining. I shouldn't be complaining because I should be happy that I have an iPad at school, but and especially because
They
I
should
have an
let you
Air
use
5
your own.
anyway that I can use at home though. There's still home button iPads that are obsolete.
Well, hey, it's better than a Chromebook.
I hope you're using sarcasm when
actually-
you say obsolete, by the way.
Huh? Yeah, I'm not to. The one thing I actually have noticed about using an iPad for school instead of a Chromebook is that a similar issue that Alpha experienced when he was in school is that I'm actually, if I ever have to use my iPad for school iPad for long periods of time at school, I'm getting to notice how my neck gets a lot of strain from that since I have to bend down a lot farther than I otherwise would with Chromebook. My neck certainly
I didn't have that
feels
type of issue.
Huh?
Oh, the issue I had wasn't... No, I would get massive headaches staring at a
Oh.
tiny screen. That was my issue.
That wasn't the same issue, but it's a similar issue because I have a smaller screen.
Yeah, so it would have been worse if we had to do things on iPads actually, because I mean those how big were those screens? 11, 12 inches or something like that? And we had to do state testing for hours on that thing. I just had migraines after that.
Yeah, at least in my state, they split up with state testing automatically.
Jeez. Well, I don't really have much more to say about the Apple Pencil.
Alright, I guess we now have to move on to the next topic, which is that Samsung is now joining Google with the RCS shaming against Apple.
I just want to ask, when in the Tim Cook era has Apple ever made fun of another company, really? Like, sure, Steve Jobs made fun of Windows a lot, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, it was too easy to back then.
Yeah, I mean,
It's still too easy to make fun of Windows
Yeah.
now.
a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it was like last week. Maybe it was this week. I don't know. I got a comment. Sorry, my air freshener went off back there. Not heard that, but I got a comment on one of my videos. You know my video about Windows 7, right?
Yeah.
Got a comment. Dude says, "It's a great video, but why are you so mad at Windows 8? You're basically saying anybody who likes it deserves to cut that out. It's gonna get us screwed up by YouTube." But they pretty much said, "You're basically saying put anybody in jail who likes Windows 8." I'm like, that's not what I said at all. I spent like a minute talking about Windows 8.
Yeah, I remember that video. I would have remembered something more about that if you said that.
I don't
watched that
remember it
video
too
twice,
well, but
actually.
comments like that are expected.
There's some people who just, that video is actually getting a lot of hate because apparently it's all my hardware. I guarantee if I put that thing on Windows 10, it would have made a difference. Not that I like Windows 10, but also another funny thing that I just want to mention. A lot of the video is talking about support. Support and hardware won't go hand in hand really when it's like software when it's application support. If I have the highest end Windows 7 machine, or it isn't going to support Windows 7 for that much longer, I assume. And if I have the lowest end one, that's not going to change how long it gets supported. Unless I update my OS to like Windows 8 or 10, whatever.
And the truth is that most computers that came with Windows 7 can be upgraded to Windows 10 or even 11 if you patch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend against doing that, though, because I've seen what happens when you upgrade those computers to Windows 10, and oh gosh.
Some computers
Oh, it did not go well at all.
Some computers just deserve to rest in peace.
I'm gonna probably have to put my Toshiba. I'm gonna probably have to dual boot my Toshiba to Windows 10 or 11, so that way I can still actually go online with it and have modern app support. Because even though it is nowhere near my main computer now, I still use it sometimes.
I'd highly recommend not, because the second you do, that thing is going to slow down by a very, very dramatically noticeable amount.
That's why. Maybe I'll put an SSD in it first and upgrade the RAM in it before I do that, since it has 6 gigabytes of RAM and a Core i5, so and it's from 2011, so it isn't going to be too. So it's it's on the newer end of Windows 7 hardware.
Yeah, it's not bad for Windows 7. I don't know, I feel like, 12-year-old computer, almost 13-year-old computer maybe, is going to be kind of trash no matter what you do with it, unless you do a lot of heavy upgrades and stuff. But
yeah, it's gonna be trash no matter what, and I'm not gonna put in the money to upgrade heavily, just like heavily,
basic machine, sure, but I don't think that people should buy used machines as basic machines. I know we all hate Chromebooks here, but why would you buy a Windows 7 computer over a Chromebook? They basically do the same thing.
Chromebooks are so. And Chromebooks actually have reliable support too, and don't have phishing attacks or malware attacks like Windows.
Just better hope that the internet doesn't go out.
I mean, if you're if you're buying a Windows 7 computer, unless it's like $50, you can probably get a Chromebook for the same price. It'll probably work just as well, if not better. Probably a lot better, and you'll get like USB-C on most of them. Find me a Windows 7 computer with USB-C.
Yeah, USB. The newest Yeah, most Windows 7 computers don't have USB-C.
I don't think there's a single one that does.
Yeah, I think there might be one or two, and that's like very high-end business laptops. So
Either way, they probably don't even ship with Windows 7 from the factory. You'd probably have to manually install it yourself.
no
Yeah,
idea.
because I'm sure. Yeah, because you can upgrade. Yeah, because I'm sure machines as late as from 2019 or 2020 or 2018 or 19 can probably go to Windows. Can probably still have Windows 7 installed on them since it was still officially supported.
I tried installing Windows 7 on a ton of different hardware. Was unable to in 2018, 19, and 20.
Okay, never mind about that then. I know you can get Windows XP working on some 2013 computers, so that's why I figured that.
Oh, yeah. I'd still prefer macOS over Windows any day, though.
Oh,
Exactly.
same.
Yeah, you want to talk about how to get hardware to age well, put macOS on it. I still don't understand how my 2009 iMac is running software that's newer than what's supposed to be running on it, and yet it is running in so much better than any PC of that era running the latest version of Windows
Well,
that it can
Oh,
support.
you mean? Have you seen? Do you watch Action Retro by chance?
Nope.
He did. He installed macOS Sonoma on his early 2008 MacBook Pro with its original hard drive. If I think it's original hard drive, no, he had put an SSD in it, but he had 3 GB of RAM in it, and it actually ran decently.
Compared to brand new machines you can buy today that run Windows.
Yeah, sometime I might have to bust out on my old MacBooks and see if I can get Sonoma running on
my 09
them.
Mac.
Huh?
I have Sonoma on my 2009.
Oh
Wow, that's
I
impressive.
It.
if I were to put Sonoma on one of my old machines, I'd probably my 2010 MacBook Pro. I'll be the first one to do that since my 2010, 2012 MacBook Pro are the best candidates for that since they both have 16 GB of RAM in them. So they should handle it with as long as I can get everything patched correctly. They should handle Sonoma no problem since Macs still today ship with 16 GB of RAM.
Yep. Well, I've got nothing else to talk about on this matter.
Well, weren't we going to talk about how Samsung was joining Google with RCS shaming?
Right, how did we get so off topic? Jeez. I don't know why it took so long, but for once, a month ago, I finally got to see RCS in action.
Why did you see it in action?
How do you do that?
Finally, my parents were texting each other, and I saw the bubble where, this person is typing right now, and this message got read and such. I finally saw that in action. Those are one of the biggest features that were supposedly announced with RCS. But never had I ever seen it work until last month.
Maybe that's because the cell towers in your area weren't advanced enough for it.
I don't think that's the case.
No, so here's how RCS worked for me. It was I used to use Android back in like 2019 for a while. It was frog awful. It would refuse to connect. When it did connect, it would connect for like 5 minutes and disconnect. And by default, for some reason, most Androids just refuse to turn it on. You have to take the action to turn it on. Most people don't even know how to get to the settings app in messages. So that's why RCS isn't becoming mainstream, because most of the time
And then Google's
not
trying.
on.
And then Google thinks that it can shame Apple into putting RCS on iPhones to replace iMessage too.
I mean, hey, it is better than SMS and MMS, and not gonna lie, I really hate texting pictures to my parents because it has to be done via MMS because I'm the only iPhone user, they both use Android. So, yeah, RCS is better in that regard, but iMessage is even better than that.
It really is.
Now, here's the thing. I wouldn't mind if Apple actually brought RCS support, but they still continue their iMessage support because at this point,
Same.
it's gotten annoying for me to actually text the rest of my family because they use Android and I'm the only iPhone user.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand that. I don't know many people with Android phones, so as a result, I don't have to worry about those kinds of issues. But even then, I think it seems like Google's trying to take control of the messaging on iPhones, which I think.
Yeah, they're never gonna get that.
I was gonna say this last week but forgot, but this is such a terrible time for Google to do it when they're being investigated for antitrust.
Really? This going on again? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know. Google's been.
How much money has the government wasted on these antitrust cases?
Well, they almost broke up Microsoft, but didn't.
How do you break up Microsoft? They're a software company that doesn't even make good software.
They successfully broke up AT&T into 17 different companies.
Something tells me AT&T just bought them all back at some point. It seems like they still own everything.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying not to get too off topic. RCS, the only reason why I want it is because SMS and MMS are so bad. But do I want RCS to become the standard for messaging everybody? Oh, no. I just want it to exist so we get off of SMS. Yeah, I prefer to use iMessage. I will always prefer to use iMessage because it is clearly the better messaging platform. Because we went off on a bunch of features that iMessage has that RCS doesn't, like email. No need for a phone number. You just need an email, and you can text people with phone numbers. Better device ecosystem integration. Yeah, that's a classic. But there's something else that you mentioned. What is it that iMessage has? It's that
Memojis and emoji stickers.
Yeah, right. Those. Yep.
Oh, and iMessage
RCS ain't got those. Very true. So, yeah, it's clearly the better platform. And as long as I can keep using that, I'm happy. But when it comes to texting my Android friends, yeah, RCS actually would be really nice at this point because at this point, I think the technology we're currently using right now has gotten a little too old and its age has really shown.
Well, I mean, SMS didn't go mainstream until the 2000s, but even then, iPhones added MMS support back in 2009. For reference, I was 1 year old and Steve Jobs was still alive at that point.
Yeah. So.
Oh, he was also CEO of Apple at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the big things about iMessage for me is the FaceTime integration. You don't get that with
that's such a good
True.
feature.
because you can do FaceTime links in if you join a FaceTime link, it joins with your actual. It doesn't join as a stage name like it does on Android. It'll join with your actual email or number, and also it integrates with iMessage. You know, you got group chats and all that, which Google Duo. I'm pretty sure if you make a group chat there, it might just go to Google Duo if they have a chat built into that. Or
Who uses Google Duo?
a lot of Android users actually. And when I had the
I don't know a single one who uses it.
when I had the
Neither do
S22, I
I.
had to use that with a couple of my buddies. But yeah, the I'm pretty sure they just use Google Chat. I don't think that Google actually believes in RCS. I think that they're still betting on most people using WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever people use. Discord.
To be
Apps
fair-
I really hate.
I
To be
don't
fair, they're both.
can't stand WhatsApp.
I don't know, they're kinda. But I can understand why Google's betting on people to use iMessage or Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp, because for the most part, a lot of people most of the time just use Facebook Messenger to communicate in here in the U.S. And a lot of people globally just use WhatsApp anyway, which is where Android really dominates.
Yeah, overseas. It's all WhatsApp. Nobody
So as a
yeah.
So as a result, Google doesn't need to care. They're just trying to get a more dominant place in the U.S. market, even though they seem to be failing quite miserably at that. Because it's been a
I
year
still
since
find it concerning how most of the world hands their messages over to the Zuck.
Oh yes, we all know what Zuck is.
Isn't that disturbing?
Zuck, Elon Musk stated perfectly. Zuck is a word I can't say on this podcast.
Oh yeah. I hate that guy so much.
Mark Zuckerberg, he doesn't even look human, mind you.
You know, there's a whole theory that he's actually a lizard.
Oh
I'm not gonna speak on that. Apparently it's actually kind of controversial. But
Oh jeez.
yeah, I thought it was a joke until somebody told me, yeah, people actually think he's a lizard. So
Well, I know some of my friends might think. I think some of my friends might think that Mark Zuckerberg is a robot. That's fairly believable too.
That guy is just so creepy. And yet most of the world is comfortable handing all of their quote-unquote private messages to him. Like, we all know he has the ability to read them.
you know, it's
don't-
funny to me.
I don't get it. It's all confusion on this end.
I don't think that I've ever seen anything by Facebook where they specify what type of encryption they use for their end-to-end encryption.
Yeah.
It's probably because they don't.
I'm sure there's some sort of encryption. I'm sure it's not end-to-end, but
I'm sure they have to encrypt it somehow so that way Facebook Meta can keep it all for themselves.
I'm sure they have to encrypt
Yeah, they
it so
just have
don't get
access to the
sued.
very same key that the other end has. Oh my goodness. But I don't know. You guys have any more thoughts on the RCS topic?
Nope, I've got another topic to discuss, which is actually a rather interesting one.
What might that be?
So, I usually don't cover Oppo news on this podcast because, for one, they don't sell phones here in the U.S., so as a result, it's just not worth it
Hey,
to cover them in the
I'm getting a call real quick. I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay, we'll wait.
A few minutes later.
As I said before, Oppo, I usually don't cover Oppo or however you pronounce it here in the U.S. because they don't sell their phones here in the U.S.
I want to
so
say
as
something
a-
about
and
Oppo real
they're-
quick.
Yeah.
So, two things. One, I'm pretty into Chinese Android manufacturers. I think they're on top of the game. Privacy's one thing, but their hardware, you gotta admit, it is up there. it is kind
They
of cool
really
to
are.
see what they do.
It is up.
But-
I agree. It is up there.
You probably.
Oh yeah,
you probably-
price per dollar. They will definitely put in all their specs.
Yeah, but
and
you guys probably
sell
know
it
this.
for stupidly cheap.
Yeah, you guys probably know this, but Oppo is in the U.S. It's just under the OnePlus name, so
Yeah, basically.
everything Oppo's.
Oh, Oppo
is
and OnePlus are the
so-
same company.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have been for what, like? I think it might have been forever. Actually, not sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but I
Oh
know-
my. Oh my gosh, I didn't know a basic phone company fact.
Oh well.
Well, anywho.
Yeah, they're both Indian companies under the same ownership. In fact, that's why OnePluses and Oppos have been looking so similar for so many years.
Oh, okay. Getting back on top. Well, getting back on topic, Oppo has just announced a new universal file application or file reader, which means on Oppo and I assume maybe OnePlus phones, you can open up a lot of different file formats, including pages files, pages documents, number spreadsheets, and keynote presentations.
How?
I don't know, but they're claimed in their presentation that they were joining together with Apple, but I haven't seen a single actual press release from Apple regarding that.
I assume it's conversion.
I'm
It might
assuming
have
so
to,
too.
that could be the only way.
Because there's no.
Because
Not only
Yeah.
would Apple never agree to that, but Apple would also mention something about agreeing with OnePlus to something like that.
yeah, I don't even know how that they'd get the ability to read that type of stuff because it's a proprietary format that Apple's developed and is only under Apple's control. It is not released for any other operating system to use. I tried downloading it on my I tried downloading a Pages file on my XPS to see what would happen and if it would come up with any way to potentially open it, but no, there was nothing available to open it.
In fact, in fact, this is I'll actually put this in the chat.
So I don't know what they're thinking. I think if they do this, they might have a lawsuit on their hands because those are proprietary formats that, last I checked, Apple has not released to the public.
I mean, if they're saying
So-
they're not a stupid company. If a
I wouldn't
company
think.
if a company is as successful as them, there's got to be some truth to it. If not, they're going to face a lot of backlash, right?
They really will.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see a lawsuit coming forward if this actually works.
I mean, even using Apple's name, stuff like that. See, if they didn't partner with Apple,
They're not.
then this is where do you see this bit of news from? Was it actually Oppo, or was it like a third party who could have been?
I actually saw this on a third-party news article,
Okay.
but I looked and and this does look like official Oppo Press.
That's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, that's just odd.
Yeah, let me actually look up
I'm also
Oppo.
trying to think. Who would own an Oppo smartphone and an Apple product that could edit Pages documents?
I mean, we don't know how it is overseas, really. So if any of our viewers are overseas, tell us. Because I would much rather own an Oppo phone and a MacBook Pro than a Dell XPS, or, well, the XPS is okay, but something Windows and an iPhone 11 or something. I value my computer more than my phone, to be honest.
Okay, now I'm not seeing a. Hold up. I saw some Oppo press from it earlier, but now I'm not finding it. It could have either, which means either one of two things. Number one, the whole thing was fake anyway, or as I got off of Twitter, or X, excuse me. Or number two, Oppo already had to shut it down. I had to redact that.
Yeah, something didn't sound right when you reported that news. Didn't make sense at all.
I don't know, man. I just don't know how proprietary. It's
Let
like
me actually.
it's like this. It's like Oppo saying 5 years ago, "Yeah, we're introducing Lightning to our new phones." You can get the fastest transfer speeds.
You can't actually use Lightning without. You actually can use Lightning without on non-Apple products. It's illegal, but you can do it.
Well, if it's illegal, then you really can't do it, man.
There's some fake Apple products that have.
Yeah, I've seen.
There's
it
fake
all.
Apple products that have Lightning ports.
Yeah, I had a pair of
True.
fake AirPods Pro. I still have them. I don't even know why I bought them, but it was like $7 off Temu. I just wanted to see what it was about, and ever since then, my friend's been saying, "Dude, you know Temu tracks your data." I'm like, I need to use my real email.
Oh, well,
Like, I
okay,
don't
I found
care.
something. Hold up, I found that might have been fake, but I found something. iWork converter. Holy smokes! There is an actual iWork converter on the Samsung Galaxy Store that I think might be an official Samsung app.
I have a feeling it doesn't work too well because I know they've developed a lot of apps like that don't work at all.
It converts it to Microsoft Office apps. Yeah, it's an official Samsung app.
There's no way it works. There's no way it works.
I will send you guys a link to it right now.
Yeah, it can be on the store, but that doesn't mean it works, though.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't work, but
I mean, I'm sure it works. I'm sure it just gives us like a really bad.
yeah, but it is an official. That is a real Samsung app. And it claims that this app uses some open source software. Yeah, I'm sure Apple lets Samsung use Pages.
No. They definitely would not.
I probably won't do this tonight, but sometime tomorrow I'll have to remember this. Maybe I should get out one of my Samsung phones and try to install the iWork converter, send myself a Pages file, and see if it actually works.
I'm pretty sure it's just going to kick out an error saying unknown error occurred.
I actually
something of
want to
that
know
nature.
if that works now, since even though it might have been a fake news report, that actually is something. That is actually something interesting now that Samsung apparently is doing. But speaking of documents, we do shall we move on to a topic that we were going to cover last week, but once we realized it was 3 hours into the show, we had to delay it to this week.
Oh yeah, what was it?
Your English report that took 5 different computers and 45 minutes to print.
Oh right, I was going to read that. I forgot. I found that old essay. So, yeah, one sec, I gotta go grab it.
Okay. Now I know the next interesting tech thing to try.
You should make a video on that, honestly. I would be down to see a video on that.
Oh my god. That might have to be... my next video will be a 1,000 subscriber special, but that might have to be my next video after that.
Yeah, so Here's the essay that I wrote that took 45 minutes to print because Windows 10 simply sucks.
Can you explain that more in depth into video?
Yeah, so I've made it famous online how basically the whole class went to the computer lab to print all of our essays. It was an English class. And we're all printing our essays on the computers there. They all run Windows 10 because, of course, they have to run the world's worst operating system. Computer number 1 that I tried couldn't even log me in. It logged everybody else in just fine, but not me. All right, next computer. Plug in my flash drive because unlike everybody else, my internet sucks and I have to do everything offline, so I have it on a flash drive. Plug in the flash drive. Simply does not recognize it.
And you were using
All
Windows
right,
at
on to
that
computer
time,
number
weren't
3.
You?
Huh?
You were using a Windows formatted drive, weren't you? Because you were using a Windows computer at that point.
Yep, I was using a Windows 7 computer to type that essay up. So, yeah, there should have been 0 compatibility issues, and especially true after I tried computer number 3, plugged it in. Oh, hey, there's a flash drive there. Well, it figured out there was a flash drive, but it couldn't figure out how to open a PDF. Because of course it can't. Yeah, typically Windows 10, what it does to open PDF documents, and I don't understand why they used to have a default application in the operating system. They'd open up the same application they use for pictures. No, now they have to go to the web to do it, except no, this computer was too stupid. It couldn't even figure out, oh, let's go to the web for an application that can open this. All right, on to computer number 4.
You know why they do that, right? You know their reasoning
To
behind
get
it.
you to use Edge.
They want you to use Edge. Because I don't think you can.
You know, you can actually change the default web browser to have your default web browser open PDF documents and not Edge. Like on my XPS, my default thing that opens when I open a PDF, it's Firefox, not Edge.
They always give me trouble with that. It never actually opens in Chrome when I ask.
Yeah, my school computer.
I've always had success in Firefox.
Hey, you guys
my
remember when
computer at
Apple? You guys remember when Apple had Safari on Windows?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that would make it easier for us to switch to Windows.
Maybe.
Nah, I'd still never switch to Windows unless there's a really
No.
compelling reason.
Anywho, can't open a PDF because, of course, on a computer number 4, basically it couldn't recognize the entire network, which makes no sense because it was able to log into my network account just fine, but it couldn't find any printers, and yet every other computer in the lab could. I don't know. So, computer number 4 didn't work, and so finally, computer number 5. I log in. Miraculously, it worked. I plugged in the flash drive. Hey, there's a flash drive there. Open the PDF. It actually opens.
It opened in
Find
the
a printer.
browser?
Yep, it opened in the browser. I find a printer. And 15 minutes after I pushed print, it finally prints.
Microsoft Engineering.
Yeah.
I spent 45 minutes trying to print this essay, and by the time I got back, everyone had already turned their stuff in long before I even got back to the classroom. So then I walk in, and my teacher's like, "Where were you? Printing an essay?"
Oh, your story reminds me of 2 times when I was in school.
Oh, jeez.
The first time was a little more. I'm not gonna tell you now.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the essay I was trying to print. And it took me 45 minutes to do it. So now that I have it here, would you guys like me to read it to you? Because it actually is tech related.
Go ahead.
Yes.
All right. It's an essay on the headphone jack. For years, when we wanted to listen to audio privately, we would plug our earbuds into our iPods, our iPhones, and our Macs. If you don't use Apple, then you'd probably plug your earbuds into your Sony Walkman, your Galaxy Android phone, or your Windows PC to listen to your music privately. All of these devices that you use on a daily basis have carried one item that is the same across all platforms: the 3.5mm headphone jack. For the past 2 years, however, this port has become missing on mostly flagship smartphones. Keep in mind, this was... When did I write this essay?
2018, 2019, I'd assume.
2019, that's when I wrote this essay, yeah. So yeah, keep in mind, this was 2019. Where was I? Oh, yeah. For the past 2 years, however, this port has become missing on most flagship smartphones, and the trend has been extending towards other devices. Why has such a trend like this started? In order to start, we should discuss a little history of the port to explain its importance in the modern world. The 3.5mm headphone jack was invented in the 1960s, originally for one purpose: to export audio from a source, your device, to a speaker. The headphone jack was further developed to support more features such as stereo sound and microphone support. This was done by adding a couple more rings on the jack without changing the actual shape of it, so you can plug a new jack in an older media player, or an old jack into a new media player that supports the new jack. One thing that many tech companies highly appreciated was its cross-platform compatibility. You plug the same set of earbuds into a PC as well as a Mac and other devices. Companies have also begun utilizing the port for third-party accessories, such as thermometers and selfie sticks. Apple had also developed an iPod that only had one port on it, which was the headphone jack. That meant they were using it to charge the device, transfer data, and send audio from the port to your earbuds. Name that device.
iPod Shuffle.
I'm surprised that they actually got the headphone jack to do that. That's crazy in my opinion.
There's like 3 or 4 rings on that, I think. I think it has an extra ring charge. Kind of cool.
It might.
Yeah, I have no... I
Yeah,
don't remember, but I think I
that's
heard
a really
something
cool
about that.
concept.
Absolutely. One
That
other
could become
thing.
the new universal port standard.
No. But one last thing about the iPod Shuffle. Did you know they use different types of headphone jacks to charge, apparently? So you can't charge a 2nd gen with like a 3rd gen or 4th gen's cable. I didn't know that.
Really?
Somebody told me that. Apparently polarity is different or something like that. That's what I've
That
told.
is totally an Apple move.
That's what I was told. I don't know why, but something. That's not.
Yeah, that's interesting. The technology had proven itself to be a convenient thing to have. However, in September of 2016, Apple launched the iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus, both without a headphone jack. When everyone found out about this, they were trying to fathom why Apple would ditch such an important port on a flagship device. Philip W. Schiller walked up on stage and explained to the crowd why they decided to leave it out. He gave 3 reasons. The first was to show courage that Apple knows that they would get tons of backlash if they did, and they decided to show courage. The second reason was because there was so much technology inside that there wasn't enough room for the headphone jack. The last reason, he said, was because of audio quality. The headphone jack was an analog connection, and digital connections were proved to be more reliable for a long time. This was before I actually found out that in order to produce audio, you need an analog signal, but details. Some people say that all of those reasons were fake. The courage reason became a meme instantly. The second reason got debunked when a guy in China who runs the YouTube channel Strange Parts was able to fit a headphone jack inside the iPhone 7 without removing any parts. But the last one they couldn't prove wrong. Again, I was not smart at this time. Because that was a fact overall, the whole digital analog thing. Some people have also took suspicion when Apple had launched their AirPods. They say that if Apple were to remove the headphone jack on their next phone, then they could boost sales of the expensive true wireless earbuds. However, it is hard to be certain if... Yeah, that's true. However, it is hard to be certain if that was the case because some people may have purchased a set of AirPods for their iPhone 6 or iPhone 5C.
I also want to note this about the AirPods thing. If Apple really did that, the AirPods would have been out when the 7 came out in not December 2016. Because they lost... Because a lot of people buy their phone on launch day. So why would they wait till Christmas season? It's not adding up there. Apple haters really need to... They really need to kind of think about that.
Can I also add another point on to what Alpha said about buying AirPods for an iPhone 6 or 5C?
What might that be?
Most people actually didn't adopt AirPods until after they started upgrading to phones without headphone jacks because no one I knew had AirPods until 2019 when both of my parents were at that point were both using their 8 Pluses.
That's kind of weird because actually at the time when I wrote this essay, AirPods had already become very popular and most of the people with them were using iPhone 6s.
That's a little bit of a that's a little bit of an oddity because that's not really the case. Again, AirPods are functionally better than AirPods, but I do think that forcing a new superior technology was definitely a reason for Apple removing the headphone jack, like what Apple does with did when they introduced USB-C to the Mac.
Mm-hmm.
And now we see...
Yeah, for the most part, the information I had was I walk around school and all of the students, they were using iPhone 6s. And yet, many of them had switched to AirPods at this point.
Yeah, that was really when AirPods started. And then once AirPods started to take off, then everybody got them.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's the context that I had when I wrote that sentence. But, all right, where was I? Oh, yeah. Once that jack was dropped, that left iPhone users with two options. Buy an adapter or buy the AirPods. If they bought the adapter, then there's a risk of losing it and they'd need to buy another. You also couldn't charge the phone while your earbuds were plugged in unless you used yet another adapter. If you bought the AirPods, then you could only listen to music as long as they have battery life. You also couldn't listen while the AirPods were charging. Well, unless you got these, but these weren't out by then. It would also be quite expensive to replace them if you lose just one AirPod. Some people just stuck to their older iPhones instead. Some people had even switched to Android just because of that reason.
That quickly backfired on them.
Yeah, it's
because that was
true though. I know so many people who switched to Android because of it. So.
I'm assuming that was back before Samsung announced the Note 10.
Yeah. I thought the Note 10 came out in wait, no.
It was August.
No, S10 was 2019, so yeah.
So it depends
on
when
the Note 10 was August 2019.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that backfired on them. All right. Continuing on. When Android companies found out about Apple ditching the headphone jack, they did their best to mock Apple as best they could. Samsung produced many advertisements that mentioned the missing headphone jack and explained that Samsung would never do what Apple did to their customers.
Oh, that is so terrible.
I believe I wrote this essay before the Note 10 even came out.
Yeah,
so.
you probably did.
I knew they would get rid of it even I knew they were going to get rid of it at some point. They just hadn't done it yet. But
how'd you know?
How would you not know?
When Apple does something, the industry copies.
That wasn't quite as much of a trend back then, though.
Yeah, it was though, because look at how the iPhone 6 changed the Galaxy S6. Look at how, look at how when the iPhone came out, Samsung went from flip phones to smartphones. And when iOS
to be fair, everybody else tried to.
But also
tried to, as BlackBerry tried to.
Also, when iOS changed majorly, a year or two later, Android did too.
Yeah, very true.
And then, I'm pretty sure when Lightning came out, that was the end of mini USB. Before that, a lot of people went to micro USB. When Lightning came out, everybody had to go to micro.
Yes, a lot of Samsung phones, like the Note 3, however, had both mini and micro USB, which
no, it's actually USB 3 micro. Mini USB was the type of USB that you have on the blue Snowball or old Blackberries. It is the big thick USB.
I have a bunch of mini USB and micro USB devices, so I know the difference.
Oh wait, hold on. Maybe I did write this when the Note 10 came out. Hold on. I gotta read this again. Samsung produced many advertisements that mentioned the missing headphone jack and explained that Samsung would never do what Apple did to their customers. They said they would keep the headphone jack. At least they thought they would. That's an actual sentence in the essay. So maybe I did write this when the Note 10 came out. Alright. 1 year later, other Android-based phone companies were ditching the headphone jack as well. Google removed it with the Pixel 2, Motorola with the Z3, OnePlus with the 6T, Sony Xperia with the XZ2.
You know the Motorola
that's
Z?
especially bad because Sony's one of the top headphone manufacturers.
You know the Moto Z never had a headphone jack. It came out a month before the 7s, and it lacked a headphone jack.
Yeah, recall Apple was not the first, but I'm talking about flagship products.
Yeah, the Moto Z, the Z1.
Because the first Android, the T-Mobile G1 also didn't have a headphone jack.
Well, most Androids didn't back then, but
yeah. All right. What else? HTC with the U12, Huawei with the Mate 20 Pro, and that's only scratching the surface. And despite Samsung saying that I had a typo in this essay. Oops. And despite Samsung saying that they would never ditch it like everyone else did, they finally gave into the pressure and removed it on the Galaxy A8. So, okay, so not the Note 10. Okay. Yeah, true. They got rid of it on the A8 first before the Note 10. And their upcoming and delayed Galaxy Fold.
Oh yeah, that was early 2019.
Yep. The headphone jack isn't just disappearing in the smartphone industry, but also the tablet industry. Apple released their iPad Pro for 2018, and sure enough, even that tablet doesn't have it. It made more people mad because of Schiller's second reason. Since Apple could have made a tablet as big as they wanted, therefore there should be no excuse to not include that port. But because the iPad Pro has a new USB-C charging port, users have to buy a separate adapter for it because their iPhone adapters won't plug into the iPad.
Nowadays they can.
Yeah, now they can because of iPhone 15. Thank you very much. But this was 2019 when I wrote this. Now, users are a bit worried about whether Apple will ditch the headphone jack on the Mac. PC users who care about the port should be worried as well, because if Apple made it become a trend in the smartphone and tablet industry, the trend will continue to Macs and PCs.
There's a Dell XPS about a headphone jack, but most of the time now.
Yeah.
But most other laptops haven't gotten. Even Macs, surprisingly, have not gotten rid of the headphone jack.
Yeah, I think it's because of the Macs are so commonly found in the audio industry. I think it just makes too much sense to keep it. Yeah, it makes too much sense to. Especially considering that they've upgraded the DACs. So...
Yeah, they'd have to
Yeah.
keep
Yeah, they
it
would be stupid
on
if they got
Mac.
rid of the headphone jack on the Mac.
yeah. PCs, on the other hand, well, sorry, Dell XPS Plus users. Alright, what else? Many have also forgotten the headphone jack issue because of a new issue to draw their attention away from the headphone jack. When Apple launched the iPhone X, it had a noticeable piece of design that caught their eye. The notch.
Oh, Samsung's sad with the notch bangs.
Yeah, I know. With the hype of the issue of phones coming with a notch, people seem to be forgetting about the previous problem they were facing. With criticism being focused more towards the notch, not that many people are left to continue to attempt to explain why the headphone jack is still relevant today. There's a good chance that the 3.5mm headphone jack is not coming back. With the transition to wireless technology on the rise and people adapting to what the industry has to offer, the port that has been convenient and useful in so many ways has become obsolete.
Truly has.
I didn't tee up my next sentence. But as technology advances, we will tend to leave behind some things like the 60-year-old headphone jack. The trend has been continuing for 3 years now. Ever since it lost its relevance in the world due to Apple excluding it, people have been adapting to the change, and now, to most people, it's been considered a non-issue. It's been so useful for the past 60 years, but nothing lasts forever.
That's so true.
And I gotta fold this in a way to make sure my name's not exposed. But, yeah, that's my essay. That took me 45 minutes to print because Windows cannot function like it should.
Speaking of the two stories that reminded me of your story, Prince, this reminds me of one time of two different occasions in school. One was back when I was in third grade, and I was in the back, and my teacher told me that she was going to be waiting out with the rest of the class by the office, and it was just me and one other kid in the bathroom that we were just finishing up in the restroom, and then we were supposed to head out by the office to find the rest of our class. Well, we didn't, and so we searched around the rest of the school to find our class, and once we finally did, my teacher asked me, "What took you so long? You should have been right in and out," but she didn't tell me where the class was. Luckily, that was back in 2017 before school security issues became an even bigger issue.
Oh, gosh.
And then, this reminds me and then back a more relevant issue to this story to this podcast is that one time, I believe I've said this on this podcast before, but back in February, I was in science class, and I was looking to... February 2023, I was in science class, and I was looking up on my computer, and we had Chromebooks, obviously, to use for whatever we needed to do in science class that day, and so I grabbed the Chromebook, used Chromebook that was on my desk, or I might have grabbed another one, as I think I was the first kid to sit in that desk that day, and there was a Chromebook, and I turned it on, and it refused to connect to my school's Wi-Fi, and because we had to access Google Classroom, because it's a Chromebook that was obviously useless, so told my teacher, got up, and then immediately the second one I got, once my teacher saw a number, responded, "Oh, you gotta put that back. That Chromebook is dysfunctional." And so I got another Chromebook, and then it finally worked. So by the time I got started, it was like it had been 10 minutes but after everybody else got started.
Oh, yeah. Again, that's their downfall. The second the Wi-Fi goes away, the second the internet goes down, they become a paperweight.
To be fair, we had to do online activities anyway, so it's not like Chromebooks would have been much help anyway, regardless. But and then I've had some other issues with Chromebooks in science class to the point where one of my classmates told me, "You seem to be the kid with the most issues with Chromebooks."
Oh, I became famous around the school after my 45-minute essay printing incident.
Kids actually cared about that.
Yeah, there was a reason why I was the first one around the school to carry a Mac with me.
Yeah, there's a reason why. Even now, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only kid in my school that has a Mac now. Actually, I had to unplug my Mac since it's getting ready to storm outside.
I went plugged because of that.
They can potentially my Mac can potentially get shorted out because of the storm. It's plugged into the surge protector, so it's less likely to happen, but still could get shorted.
I think what you need is what's called a UPS.
What's that?
Uninterruptible power supply.
I might have to consider one. Hold up, let me look those up. Just
Can you
because
repeat that? The Mac Studio is being the Mac Studio, and my audio decided to cut out for a good minute there, so... Sorry about that.
That's all right. If it's only a minute, that's fine.
Yeah, I kind of regret buying this thing.
That's unfortunate.
You know, Mac Studio issue real quick. So I was trying to upload the file, like, 2 weeks ago, right? And I had to download something last week. And, I couldn't upload it from a Mac Studio. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I threw it on a flash drive, put it on my MacBook, and used that. But then a week later, because I use my MacBook more, a lot more. But I'm trying to download this video file because I was using a dual camera in last week's video, if you didn't see. And I only had the Nothing phone on me and the 15 Pro, so that was all I could record with. So I put it on Google Drive like I do because Android file transfer is broken. And
Yep.
I tried to download it from the Google Drive, right? It says, like, internet connection failed, and then it's downloading really slowly, so I do a speed test. 0.5 megabit per second. 0.5 megabits per second. So that's download. Upload was like 3, maybe even 2.5. So then I grabbed my Ethernet cable, plug that in. 1500 megabits per second off the bat.
Oh my.
And
Gosh.
on top of that, I've been having constant Bluetooth issues ever since June. Remember back in June, that one time when we were recording and my thing just went out?
Oh, that reminds me. I've had... You asked me about the Magic Mouse disconnecting.
Right.
I've had it happen once now.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking that might just be my Mac
It was
Studio.
while my computer was locked.
Yeah, that's how
So-
it happens with me, because I always lock my computer when I'm away from
Okay.
it.
Yeah. I've had an instance where my Magic Mouse... I was able to get it to reconnect after I closed the lid and put it back to sleep,
Okay.
and then I woke it back
Yeah.
up that way. But yeah, I've had it disconnect.
Okay, that's weird. I've also been noticing battery drain issues on my Magic Keyboard. I've had to charge it like twice in the last month, which is not what it's like. But I don't.
Yeah, that doesn't sound
yeah,
right.
I don't know. This Mac Studio is becoming a real pain.
Well, it became a real pain. It became real pain back in June and May, and I think it was late May when we were recording that episode, but
Was it early
released in
June?
June when, or no, it was recorded in June, but that was when your Mac Studio died.
Yeah, and then it came back, and this whole thing I'm thinking about just taking it to Apple, saying, what can you do at this? Can you replace the thing? Can you make it work? Because this thing, I can't keep using this thing as it is.
Oh,
Do you still have warranty on it?
Yeah, I have 2-year Apple Care, maybe 3-year. So
So
it's just
definitely take it in, because I mean, after the whole it died incident, I would have taken it in instantly.
Yeah, it's just two things. One, it's a matter of, are they going to acknowledge the problem or just say, oh, we couldn't replicate it in store, come back when it's happening again? And two, big time thing too, because yeah, it's like 30 minutes to the Apple store, but that's 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back, 30 minutes
Hey,
to get
it's
it
better
back.
than 6 hours for me.
Yeah.
or an hour.
But it's 2 hours of my time wasted plus the hour that I'm going to spend in the Apple store. So I just have to find a good time to do it. Maybe find something.
Why don't
cool
you
in the
just
mall.
mail? Why don't you just mail it in?
Oh, then I have to drive to the UPS store, and I hate navigating that stupid shopping center. So I'm not doing that.
Can't you just mail? Can't you? Oh yeah, you can't mail it directly from your house.
They don't do USPS. I could do drop off, but then I don't trust having a professional computer sit on my doorstep for 5 hours before the UPS dude decides he's gonna.
No, I would not do that.
It just
Yeah,
makes more
it's a
sense for me
little bit
to do it at the Apple store, but it's just really annoying. It is what it is. So I have the MacBook Pro, so I'm probably just gonna take the Mac Studio in, hook up the Pro to my studio display, and yeah, because I use the MacBook Pro way more anyway. I've used the Mac Studio probably. I've edited like 2 or 3 videos on it since I got the MacBook Pro. And the only benefit that I see with the Mac Studio is it has double the RAM, which is a big benefit, but still, when you have a MacBook Pro where I can sit there, grab the MacBook Pro off my desk, take it upstairs, continue editing. It's such a nice experience to have a MacBook Pro.
And the battery lasts forever, basically.
That's why I wanted.
And
MacBook
again,
Pro.
macOS is amazing when it comes to RAM efficiency. So
Yeah, there was a few times where I've actually taken it places with me. Like I've put it in a little sleeve, put it in the back of the car, and just gone places with the MacBook
yeah,
Pro.
So have I. With my
I've
MacBook.
once had an editing session at a cafe, and this thing is awesome.
Right
And
now,
then it's great for when I had that emergency situation in Maryland where I had to get a news video out.
yeah, the MacBook Pro, it's so ahead of its time, it's crazy. I remember sitting
Well,
there
as
in
we
2020.
said on this podcast around a year ago, or it was actually about a year ago. We recorded the episode where we said this, but MacBooks show but PCs show their age a lot faster than Macs.
Right, but it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because I remember in 2020 sitting there with my Intel MacBook Pro and my iPad Pro saying, why? Why can't Apple just put macOS on the iPad? The Magic Keyboard and all is there already. Why? And I remember pretty much saying, okay, well, the iPad Pro is basically a Mac running ARM. And then the M1 MacBook Pros came out, and I remember going and buying one of those like 2 days before my birthday and just being absolutely amazed by the battery. It was crazy. Like I've never seen before. Because I was getting like 30 minutes to 2 hours on the 16-inch MacBook Pro. I got nothing out of that.
Oh, my
battery.
16-inch MacBook Pro has such terrible battery life that there's been some podcasting sessions when I've had to plug it in twice while recording.
Plus, mine
Yeah.
was brand new on its original OS and all, because that was before Big Sur came out. But of course, I did go on the beta of Big Sur. That was a great beta, by the way. I really miss my 16-inch MacBook Pro 2019. It was a great machine. M1,
Yeah.
Apple Silicon.
Yeah, that has to be the best Intel MacBook Pro out there that you can buy.
Yeah, this is the best
Intel
one.
computer. Maybe that or the iMac.
I miss the touch bar.
I do not.
I want
This is-
that touch bar back so badly.
This isn't a bad computer for basic tasks, but it's just not good for video editing or podcasting anymore.
It was a great machine when it came out. That was probably in my top 5 favorite Macs. You know, with the butterfly keyboard Max, I had a 2018 that I just absolutely, it was such a nice machine for me. Until I had a bunch of issues and then the display cracked randomly. Still don't know how that happened. Something probably like hit it in the wrong way or something. But I didn't see anything happen. And it started as a line. And then the keyboard failed again. And then I traded it in for the
That's cool.
16-inch. The end of the 2018 MacBook Pro was just, it was awful. The last like 3 months, it was right when COVID happened too. It was May 2020.
Ooh, so I bet servicing that thing got difficult.
That's why I held off, because it started having keyboard issues in like March, but I held off until it was early June when I just said, okay, I can't take this thing. I need a laptop because I water damaged my razor blade. Don't remember if I did that on purpose or on accident, but I grabbed a bottle of isopropyl and somehow that ended up all over it. But I ended up just saying, okay, I need a bigger laptop. I was tired of the 13-inch screen of the Razer. I wanted a nice laptop again, so I got the MacBook Pro fixed. Then immediately traded that for the 6. Never looked back. I never wanted to change
Yeah.
that 2019.
Yeah, it was a
And
good
Apple.
decision.
And Apple Silicon came out. It's like, after Apple Silicon, why would you go back to Intel? Except for if you're like insanely adamant on needing Windows, which, come on, just buy a cheap XPS like I did on eBay, and you'll do the same thing. You'll use it a month or once a month if you're like me, and it's just good to have on hand. But maybe if your whole like work system relies on Windows, then at that point, just buy a Windows computer over Mac. I hate to say it because I really don't like Windows, but that's how it
Neither
is.
do I.
If that's how your situation is, Macs aren't gonna work. No, just go with Windows.
Yeah, I know. That's. I've initially thought about trying out the, what is it, Parallels Desktop to run Windows
No.
on this thing for work.
I wouldn't.
Except the problem is, yeah, there's nothing optimized to run on ARM in terms
Plus-
of Windows. I mean, they've got their own suite of apps because they have Windows on ARM and such, but
Yeah,
it's
but
just not good.
I wouldn't do Parallels. It's so hard to get off your computer if you don't know what you're doing. It takes up so much storage. It's like 80 gigs for a Windows install. But funny story. I don't think that you guys. Teddy probably knows, but I had a Microsoft Surface Pro X back in 2021,
Oh, I remember that.
and you know it wasn't half bad. I'm not gonna lie, but I never used it because what can you do on that thing? Because it's not like you got the benefits of ARM. The battery life was awful. The performance was awful. There's no reason to do ARM on Windows over Intel. Maybe it's changed since then. Thing was like 2 years old when I got
No,
it.
it
was still
hasn't.
so-
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
It has not changed.
Yeah. Why would somebody buy that machine? The hardware was great, but it's such a
Hardware and
stupid
software
machine.
go hand in hand.
It was such a stupid machine. I don't know
Yeah.
why I bought it. I think I
And
just,
yeah, it's called Pro. Surface Pro X for professionals.
yeah, and I even had,
Pro.
I think it was like a Surface Pro 7 or 8 that I got before that. I had a Surface Go that I used a little bit in like 2019. That thing had some issues. Took it to Best Buy. They refunded me. Don't remember why, but they did. And I got the Surface Pro 7, 8, maybe it was the 9. I don't know. I don't know what it was. It was matte black. And then from there, I went to the Surface Pro X. I returned it and I was like, okay, the Surface Pro X is not much more. Then I returned that. What did I get? I think I bought the S21 with that. Galaxy S. Which I got more use.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I still don't understand why people buy the Surface anyways. Like, what advantage does the Surface actually have compared
My
to
mom
your
has
standard laptop?
They think it's a MacBook.
My mom has a Surface Pro 6 that she uses because she has a piece of software, an application that requires Windows in order to run. And even though she has an Intel Mac, she refuses to use Boot Camp. But she has the one with an Intel processor, x86 based one, so she can run in Windows apps on it. Run normal Windows on it. But she only has that because she has no other Windows computers, and because most of the time she just uses her Mac anyway.
Yeah, I can actually
Question.
I can actually answer why people bought the Surfaces. Because prior to my experience with the XPS, I was a Surface user for Windows. They're MacBooks. They're Windows copied MacBooks. And people see that, I myself included, like, okay, well, Microsoft's making it. It's got to have good integration, right? No bloatware. In reality, they're okay. They're better than like the typical HP. But like, if you're spending that much, just go for a MacBook. And if you're not a Mac fan, buy a Dell XP. Or even the Razer Blade. That computer's great. I loved mine. That was an amazing machine. Why'd I even say?
Another laptop I'd recommend actually would be Framework.
I've seen that.
Oh yeah, Framework laptops are so incredible.
I've seen that, and it's... If you're a DIY person, yeah. Like, if you're into fixing your own stuff, yeah. But if you're...
Well, you don't even have to be DIY to
Yeah.
buy one because you can buy it pre-assembled.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, they're just built to be pretty solid laptops, and they even have a Chromebook edition now.
They seem like alright little computers. I don't hate them. I probably wouldn't own one myself. I thought about it for a minute. Back when I was looking at computers. So there was a time when I didn't like Apple Silicon. They just didn't have enough power for me. After and I went back to the i7 16-inch MacBook Pro. And prior to the M1 Pro MacBook Pro coming out, so I ended up going to that. I was looking at a Dell XPS 17 or a Framework laptop, and there was a couple other things. And the Framework looked nice. I considered it. Price wasn't all there, and the specs weren't all there for me. So I couldn't really do that, because I need a lot of performance for it. And every time I've used a Windows computer, I've tried to game on it. It never goes well on laptops.
No, laptops are not designed for gaming. Like, even the gaming laptops, I mean, they're better, but you're still constraining power-hungry components in a tight space. What do you think's going to happen?
Why I bought the Steam Deck. Like, it's better than gaming laptops for me, because it's an all-in-one solution.
And that's why Framework now announced their game. I think Framework now has a handheld console too.
Cool. I've been wanting to play that.
I've really wanted to get a Framework laptop for the Gadgets channel.
You should try.
Just for content.
Yeah, I would honestly be interested to see what you think about it, because I haven't heard a lot. I think that Linus from Linus Tech Tips invested in it, but you know.
Yeah, he's an investor.
Yeah, it's like the power. It's like, I think it's something about the TDP about gaming laptops, because the Steam Deck, I really want to run that new Forza game. If it can't run last year's or 2021's Forza, it's not going to be able to run 2023's Forza probably. That's kind of my issue with the Steam Deck. That's why it's been sitting untouched for a while. But I think that, of course, depends on what specs you have, but the ROG Ally looks cool. Asus ROG Ally, but I don't want to spend... I don't want to spend more money on something because I don't game as much.
Lenovo has a handheld. Lenovo just came out with their handheld too, and Logitech has theirs too.
Lenovo's higher end computers are pretty good. Their lower end computers are also pretty good. For $150, you can get a nice Lenovo, actually, brand new. Last time I checked. Of course, it's gonna have like 4 gigs of RAM, but
yeah.
If you're gonna buy,
I lived with 4 gigabytes of RAM. I lived with 4 gigabytes of RAM on this 2014 MacBook Air as late as last year.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, thought about getting the framework laptop for... Actually, my grandpa is a tech enthusiast, hardware enthusiast. Like, he's built his own custom gaming PC and everything. I'd like to see what he'd think of a laptop like that.
If you could, I think that would be cool.
Yeah. I'd want to get the 16-inch version that they... I don't know if they've released it to the public yet, but if they haven't, I at least want to pre-order that and check it out. If only money was not an issue.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably not a great thing to spend your money on.
Yeah, it would have to be a buy it and sell it scenario in order for me to make it work.
Like the old tellers
Yeah,
of tech
and
videos.
at that
or
point, you
just
might as
return
well
it.
just not avoid the hassle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta buy tires in a couple days, actually, so
Oh, yeah,
not a
you
good
need
financial decision at the
Oh
moment.
yeah, you need snow tires because you're probably it's gonna probably start because have you gotten your first real snow yet?
Not yet, but it's probably coming soon.
Yeah,
It usually starts in October, and we're nearing the end.
I can't wait for my first I can't wait for my first if there's gonna be snow either.
I don't even want to... I hate it. I always hate the first snow because obvious reasons. I hate living up here.
Again, I live in the south. I live in the south where snow is scarce.
So lucky.
Then once you move to North Carolina, then you'll become a then you'll love snow.
No, I'm still probably going to hate it because I promised my family once a year I'd come up for Christmas and New Year's.
Aw. Your family should come down and see you.
I'm sure they might every now and then, but for many reasons I can't say, it's probably going to end up me coming up to visit and not them.
Yeah.
One of those reasons is it's
right back.
like over 1,000 miles to travel.
Oh.
So, yeah, they'd have to break the road trip up into a couple days. Me being me and absolutely loving road tripping and driving, I could probably do the whole 1,000 miles in a day. It'd be a long day, but I could do it.
I wouldn't even try. I love road trips too, but even I don't think I could handle that.
Yeah, the other reason why I'd also probably come up more often is because after New Year's, I'd probably then have to hit the road for Las Vegas.
Why Vegas?
CES.
Oh.
I want to start going to check out those because it's content for the Gadgets channel and the Drive channel because I talk about electric cars. And they show off a lot of stuff at CES. So just think about that loop. North Carolina to Upper Michigan, all the way to Las Vegas and back to North Carolina.
What if your family moves?
Don't know if that would ever happen because, well, again, other reasons, but I don't know. Too many what ifs in the air, but
All right.
Yeah,
well,
I do
guess
need to get
speaking
snow
of
tires.
road trips, we have some very exciting EV news to talk about.
yes, true.
So first up, BMW has announced they are transitioning to the NACS connector.
What does your dad think of that?
My dad does. I don't know if my dad knows that yet or not.
You might want to tell him because if he's a BMW enthusiast,
Oh, yeah,
because
he is.
yeah, that's really exciting and is really embarrassing for two other brands that they haven't caught on yet.
Which other brands?
Volkswagen Group, particularly Porsche and Audi.
Oh, Audi's more on the level of BMW, so Audi would be a little more jealous of that.
Yeah, I mean, we
But
all know
Porsche's-
Porsche's screaming to do it. They want it so
But
bad,
Porsche
just
was-
corporate won't let
But
them.
Porsche goes up more against the BMW M series of an X series of cars. So Porsche
Yeah,
would be jealous.
Still, they
too.
compete in some way, just in the high performance division. So yeah, Porsche and Audi, they're now really hurting because
Both BMW and Mercedes have switched.
and then the other brand, Lucid.
Oh yeah, I think Lucid's going down.
So not only do they have one of their direct competitors, Mercedes, already having the better charging standard and much better charging performance overall, despite that it doesn't peak as high as Lucid's. Now BMW, their other direct competitor with better charging performance than the Lucid Air, also has switched.
Not only that, but BMW is also one of the few EV manufacturers or a few car manufacturers that still actively advertise their sedans.
Yeah.
They're very...
So, yeah, Lucid's going to be hurting.
Oh, yeah. But more important...
And they think the Sapphire is going to save them, but no. That Sapphire is not going to save them at all.
What's the
Doesn't
Lucid
even have
Sapphire?
a glass roof. The Lucid Sapphire is basically their ultimate high-performance version of the Air.
So, wait a minute. Lucid's high expensive car isn't selling well, so they need to make an even more expensive car.
So yeah, charging your $150,000 car at Walmart on broken chargers isn't already big enough hit. No. Now you get to show up to broken chargers at Walmart in your $250,000 car.
That's a quarter of what a Bugatti costs.
Who thought this made any sense?
I don't understand that at all, because at this point with Lucid, man, Lucid.
I can't wait to see Talos of EV's next report about Lucid's performance, because he's put out quarterly reports on and reflecting on what's happened, and let's just say he becomes more sad and depressed about how Lucid performs every quarter. It's like, hey, what's going on? Just
the most embarrassing thing about Lucid
so much
is that it's a standard business tactic that if your product isn't selling, you lower the price. That's one of the most basic business principles out there. And Lucid
they've already done that. But they still don't understand. They've got a massive fundamental problem they need to fix.
And Lucid doesn't understand that they have no... Lucid really doesn't understand what's going on.
They do not.
I guess in other news of other EV manufacturer... does Tabby have any opinions on BMW's transition?
I don't really like new BMWs. I'm more of a fan of the old one.
Alrighty,
Yeah,
well...
Oh, actually, it's not just BMW. Hold on, it's not just BMW, the brand. It's also their other sub-brands like Mini and Rolls-Royce.
BMW owns them?
Yeah, BMW owns Rolls-Royce and Mini.
Oh... Yeah, they do own Rolls-Royce and Mini. Okay, now I know where they come from.
Oh gosh. A $500,000 car getting NACS before Lucid.
Oh, man. BMW is going to be... Oh, man, Lucid's getting so shamed.
They've got to be embarrassed. Oh, gosh. But, yeah, those sub-brands have also joined. So, future Minis and Rolls-Royces, whenever they produce their electric car, they will also have NACS as well.
But you don't have to... I don't know if Mini is an economy class brand or not, but...
They're more of an enthusiast brand, but I don't know where their pricing falls.
Oh,
They're a very unique brand. Because
let me look it up.
I'm trying to think, who does Mini really compete with?
Fiat somewhere.
Oh yeah, the Mini does have EVs.
Oh yeah, Mini's produced some EVs already.
Oh
I
yeah.
guess the Ford Fiesta.
They're economy class.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, Mini's their lowest class brand, BMW is their mid-grade brand, and then Rolls-Royce is extreme luxury.
Oh, jeez.
Alright, well, I guess in other news, we should talk about a more mainstream car company that's switching to a NACS connector that we all thought wouldn't.
I was so shocked about this. This came completely out of left field.
Does anybody want... I will give you a hint at what the car maker is. It starts with T. And it's
I already
named
know
as
it.
Toyota.
Toyota and Lexus, they've made the plunge too, which really shocks me.
And Scion.
I don't think they sell Scions here in the U.S.
Yeah, they do. There's a Scion. There's some Scions around in my area.
They don't sell... Those aren't brand new cars, though.
No, they are. Let me look up to see where if Scion sells in the U.S. because I know there's an import. I know there's an import area.
Yeah, you can import them, but you have to wait for the car to be like 25 years old or something.
Yeah, they look pretty old.
So yeah, I don't expect Scion to get it because, well, for one, the NACS connector is a U.S. thing, and well.
Oh yeah, it has been defunct in 2016. It went defunct in 2016.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Toyota already has the MR2 and this, or at least they did have the MR2, and they still have the Supra. So.
So, yeah, for a car company that has put no effort into charging a vehicle, I am very surprised that they are switching to the superior standard.
I wonder if Toyota's gonna fix all their charging speed limitations now.
Oh, I finally learned how truly terrible it was. So, this is really your best case scenario. You start on your road trip, you travel slightly less than 200 miles, because, again, bad battery, bad electric cars to buy.
No wonder why Toyota
You get to the
needs
charging station.
solid state batteries.
Yeah, solid state is not going to save them. It's all vaporware. Yeah, so you travel, you're less than 200 miles. You get to... you got to hope that the charging station works, because at the moment, well, they're still using CCS. Even though they've now announced that they're going to switch. But still, they're limited to CCS at the moment. You get to a hopefully working station. And then, assuming the station gives full power, you'll get 150 kilowatts peak and a fairly easy ramp down. Okay, we're all set. On to the next charger. That's less than 200 miles away. 30 kilowatts.
Oh my. Why?
That's worse than a
Toyota?
Chevy Bolt. And again, this is assuming the charging station can give full power.
This is Toyota's supposed to be better than Chevy.
Well, they are in reliability, despite the wheel falling off incident. But, yeah, definitely not when it comes to EV technology.
I'm glad that Toyota is switching to NACS connector, because it not only means that they have a little more of a game in the EVs and might actually show to care, but this also gives them a great head start, and this is also going to give them a great head start in the hybrid game, because Toyota's already All of Toyota's cars now, except for the 4Runner and the Tacoma, are hybrid, offer hybrid options, and a lot of people aren't ready to commit to full EVs yet, but they be more willing to go hybrid. So as a result, Toyota has now that charging is working. Toyota has a great advantage in the hybrid game now.
Well, hybrid's only AC charge. Like, Tabby's car, his is a plug-in hybrid, and it only AC charges. There are a couple hybrids that will DC charge, but there aren't many. Like the only ones I can think of are the Polestar 1. That hybrid will DC charge. Mercedes came out with the GLE hybrid that can DC charge. I believe Fisker makes a car that's a hybrid and also DC charges. And then there was one other one that I can't think of. It's not available in the US, that's why.
Yeah, I've never heard of Fisker either, so... Or yeah, I have, but barely. Never seen their cars.
Yeah, so there aren't many hybrids that DC charge, and because due to the way they're designed and how you use them, well, DC charging is not really all that relevant and important for it.
But
even though having the option to do it is nice. But
yeah, but it'll still help a lot with having to deal with things like broken charging networks.
Well, actually, the funny thing is the AC charging networks appeared. I mean, Tabby might beg to differ due to his experience with it, but for the most part, the AC charging networks are actually fairly reliable. You go to the ChargePoint AC charging stations, not the DC, the AC. ChargePoint AC stations, it's not often that they're down.
I don't know. I think it's less that they're down. I've only seen like one or two that have just been down. I think a lot of it is people messing with it. Pretty sure that one dude either smashed one or ran it over.
Yeah.
And that seems to... And other thing is parking on EV.
Yeah, that's another problem.
I gotta send this photo on what I had to deal with back right when we got the Q5. I will find.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, aside from those instances, like, for the most part, the AC charging stations are pretty much online. The ChargePoint, Clipper Creek, their units are so robust. Those are the primary two that I can think of. It's ChargePoint and Clipper Creek. Those are the ones to look for. And you'll find Clipper Creeks at so many different hotels, the ChargePoint stations at many public locations, and assuming they don't get vandalized, then yeah, vandalism unfortunately is still a problem, but I think once we get deeper into the transition, it will fix it. Woo! That's some close parking.
That's
Oh, the dude was gonna pull out. Cause I parked next to that guy. He didn't park next to me. I was like, okay, I want my charging. I don't care how hard time to do into his car if he's gonna park like on damn near double parking. I don't care.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's at a ChargePoint station.
I give great credit to. I give great credit. That'll teach that Nissan Pathfinder a lesson.
You know, I went into that restaurant. I ate as quick as I could, and I got out of there because I didn't want to pull off and smash to the side, break the whole side of Q5. I was like, no, I don't trust that guy.
Well, that's what license plates are for.
Yeah, that's why I took those photos, because I actually, when I was getting in there, I had to climb over to the passenger seat and get out through there.
Mm.
That dude is so stupid. Because he decided it was a good idea to park like that, park in an EV station when stupidest dude ever.
Well, here's another thing too. Did they have a sign up?
Oh yeah.
Did they have a sign up that says EV charging only?
Yeah, and I posted him on PlugShare. License plate.
Yeah, in that case, you actually could have reported him to the police.
That happens so much here. Sometimes it's
Yeah,
people who work places who just take them every day. I don't blame them.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
but yeah, you can report these guys to the police.
these people are so stupid.
Oh, they are. My local charge point station, and it's a DC one. That gets iced all the time.
I saw you tweet about that Tesla that was parked there but wasn't charging.
Yeah, I was actually there today, and this time there was a Tesla there charging.
Those have
Sadly,
good.
at reduced rate. Yeah, he was using the CCS adapter, though. I gotta figure out who actually operates that station, because the weird thing about ChargePoint corporate doesn't really operate their stations. They operate some, mostly in Colorado, but for the most part, it's private individuals and businesses that own and operate them. Which is why when they go down, it is a pain to get them back up and running, because it's not ChargePoint corporate you got to complain to. You got to complain to whoever actually owns it and runs it.
ChargePoint might have to fix that.
I hope they do. Like, they say they want to get into corridor charging a corridor network. If that's the case, then they got to own and operate it themselves, because if this is how fixing these stations is right now, and if this is their plan on doing it in the future, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I'm actually looking on PlugShare, and everybody says that always iced. Constant. I'm scrolling down. It's at one spot that I was in. It looks like somebody took my down. Why? The right spot. But like, it's so stupid. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's a shame that this happens.
I don't understand it. People really can't go 2 blocks down.
Apparently,
People
parking
feel
is
the
so
need
hard.
to drive in these big trucks with no mufflers, lifted millions of feet off the ground.
Oh my god! There's this one. Oh my. There were when my dad was looking to buy his last car. He briefly looked at cars from California, but he refused. But he decided not to buy any cars from California, since everybody removes the mufflers from their cars, and as a result, the cars are so loud and annoying. Gee, it's really starting to make me. It really makes me not surprised why California is so pro EV. But there's all.
Well, that's one of the reasons. Gas prices might be the other.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, I was on my way home from central Wisconsin on Sunday, and I passed this. I couldn't believe how stupid they can make a truck look. But basically, it's this 1990s Dodge pickup with these oversized, like they have to be 40+ inch tires. This thing's lifted to the point where if it goes under a bridge, it might potentially hit it. Oh, and this thing was so wide it was taking up multiple lanes in the road.
Did he have flags on to say it was an oversized load? Most states you have to have flags on to warn people, and
No.
and in my state you have to have cars both before and after to let them know, hey, there's an oversized load coming through.
No, this was the truck itself. The truck itself had tires so massive it was taking up more than his lane.
Oh my gosh, That's so stupid.
How the police did not pull him over, and the cops were out that day. I spotted like 10 cops on I-39. So, how he did not get pulled over is beyond me.
Could he put smaller tires on the truck?
He should have. Yeah, it was totally aftermarket. It's so stupid. It's this 1990s Dodge pickup with 40 plus inch tires. And I don't know how wide those things were. I just know that they were wide enough to increase the width of his vehicle to take up more than his lane.
That's just sheer stupidity.
Oh, and of course, no muffler. Of course, no muffler.
Of course, there's no muffler. The worst drivers always seem to have no mufflers.
So stupid. These people think they're cool. They look so stupid
Wasn't
and
it-
ridiculous on the road.
Wasn't it that guy that? Yeah, didn't that? Yeah, like that guy who keeps driving by your house every night at 1 in the morning.
So annoying. So, yeah, drivers are annoying. I don't understand why we have to be this impolite on the road. We all have places to go. Why do we have to be so rude and impolite towards each other?
At this point, you might as well not even have driver's licenses if drivers are that bad.
Well,
Well, how are
supposedly
people gonna get to work?
Robotaxi's supposed to fix this. I doubt it.
All right. Well, do we have any other topics that we want to discuss?
I'm essentially out at this point. I have to re-record my whole... I recorded a video about how BMW was transitioning to NACS. And now today Toyota announced, and so now that rendered that whole video useless. And now I have to re-record it.
Well, does Tabby have any more topics that you want to discuss, or?
No, I'm good.
Yep,
What about your
I'm out of
Pixel
ideas.
tablet?
Oh, yeah,
Ooh.
I bought a Pixel tablet.
What do you think of it so far?
It's nice. It's a nice tablet. A lot of
Do
people
you use it over your iPad?
right now, yeah. But I like the iPad. I wanted something that was easier to throw in a bag. I wanted something that was cheaper because the iPad's like a $1,300 device. If that gets stolen, that's going to be a lot worse
Why?
than a $400 Pixel tablet.
I can understand that.
Yeah, and I wanted something
I'll
that I would be able to just kind of take around easier. And also, it's another Android phone. I wanted something to mess around with Android with for like the new updates that come out. Pixel tablet's going to get updates for a while. So I thought, why not? You know, it's a good price. It was on sale. And nice. I have it next to me right now.
Yeah, I have no clue if this thing is going to succeed or not, because for one, it's Google. They cancel their products because, oh, it doesn't perform as well as they want, primarily because they botch it in the first place. But
We'll see if there's a second gen.
yeah, I mean, but hey, a tablet doing the basics, and I gotta admit, the whole dock stand idea,
Yeah, it is cool.
yeah, I personally like that idea.
Lenovo already partnered up with Amazon to do that for Alexa. I'm sorry for triggering your echoes if you have any, but that is but nowadays that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I
But
had one of those
I'm
Lenovo
trying.
things. It wasn't nearly as streamlined or whatever.
But if Google's doing it firsthand, then that's really incredible, especially because Amazon has now ruined Echo Shows to the point where I'm this close to buying my family a Google Home where I'm this close to buying a Google Nest for a Nest Hub for my family room because as a result I have to buy, because as a result there's so many ads that you can't turn off that show on the Echo Show that just drive me insane. They just make me want to go. They just make me want to stop using that thing.
Hey, editor Alpha DeWolf here. Yeah, we said some stuff, and you guys are not allowed to hear this stuff. And this right here is where the stuff used to be. All right. Now that stuff has been said, back to the show.
Yeah, that is funny.
Almost not nearly as funny as the Amazon Alexa fart packs, though.
Oh my gosh, those are hilarious. I'm sorry, everyone, but farts are funny.
Like, you can ask Echo to fart for you. Let me ask Siri if she farts. Siri, fart. Siri still can't fart. Come on, Apple.
Nope.
Make Siri fart. Okay, I found one flaw with Siri, which is why she might be stupid. She needs to start farting.
I think that would just make her even more stupid.
Echoes have had that. Alexa has been able to fart now for at least 3 years.
Yeah, it is entertaining for the little ones. I definitely know that.
Did a couple of years ago, your youngest sister tried to order an Alexa fart pack?
Yeah, she did.
Luckily,
So
you stopped
funny.
her in time.
Oh yeah, we stopped her right before she purchased it.
Buying farts. I'm like, who would buy a fart? Like, I know people.
That reminds me,
buy wooden fish.
actually.
I know people buy.
That reminds me. You guys know another quirk about Teslas, right?
Oh, you can make them fart.
Yeah. I was walking down the street in Petoskey one time, and somebody had a Tesla parked in their driveway, and obviously, me being me, I took interest in it. I was looking at it, and then as I was about to continue on my way, the owner inside the house pulled out his phone and he made the car fart.
Did he do that to entertain you? Because he saw you?
Oh boy, somebody got the entertainment. I know that much.
I'm gonna have to.
I could hear laughing coming from inside the house. It was so funny.
Oh gee, I'm gonna have to start. Maybe I need a Tesla to make it fart. Or wouldn't it be funny if you could reprogram your cars so that way on its external speakers you can just have it fart the whole drive?
You can change the horn to do that.
Oh, I'm definitely doing that. except when I'm going on a date.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so fun. You can change the horn to actually fart at people. And then another cool thing too, you can the sound that the blinkers make whenever you turn on the turn signals.
You can make those fart too.
Yes.
You can make a Tesla fart as much as you want.
I also love the name that they have for fart mode. They don't actually call it fart mode. They call it emissions testing mode.
Emission. To be fair, you are technically testing emissions of the car.
Yeah, so here's this backstory behind emissions testing mode. It actually had to do with Volkswagen. Because their ECUs for their vehicles, ECU stands for Engine Control Unit. They had a secret code where if you were testing it out, it'd go into hyper efficiency mode for emissions testing purposes.
Would it fart?
Well, not as much as what Tesla does. So yeah, Volkswagen's emissions testing mode is a feature to, well, hopefully sneak past the fact that their emissions are a little higher than whether they should be. And meanwhile, Tesla's is just a joke on a screen. Oh, it's so funny.
Okay, now I know why to buy a Tesla. Or when I wonder if I could reprogram it to reprogram the turns to reprogram the sounds to be Rick rolls. So that way I can Rick roll.
You
people.
can upload custom sounds to it.
Oh my, that would be so fun.
So yeah, you probably could.
So that way you could hear Rick Astley sing every time. Just every time.
Yeah, these cars might not have great quality control, but oh boy, are they hilarious. They're just fun. And maybe not exactly high performance car unless you get the Model 3 Performance or the Model S Plaid. But they're just fun.
Well,
Yeah,
shall we wrap up?
There's that.
Shall we wrap up the show now?
Yeah, probably should.
Alrighty. As always, thank you all for watching and tuning into another episode of the iTunes Fanboy Podcast. As always, I am Teddy Magger from the iTunes Fanboy.
Tabby Cat.
My name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha.
And as always, we are saying goodbye for now, and we hope to hope to catch up with you guys again on the next episode. As always, goodbye and peace out.